Worse, by fixating on plastics, are we actually taking our eye off the ball and not seeing other areas worthy of equal or greater concern? Might we even consider the possibility that we may be able to rectify at least some of our problems with the assistance of plastic? The COVID-19 pandemic is a good example. With vast quantities of equipment used against this virus, from PPE to test kit components, from breathing tubes to ventilator parts, all being made from plastic. Moreover, that bane of society, single-use plastic. Many column inches have gone to declaim the depletion of non-renewable fossil fuels, especially oil, in the manufacture of plastics. Hang on a minute, though. Just how much oil is actually being depleted in the name of plastics? The answer may surprise. Globally, just 4% to 6% of oil produced goes into the manufacture of plastics. So what happens to the rest? Largely, it's incinerated. The vast majority of extracted oil is burnt for fuel. There is no going back on this finite resource. By converting it into plastic, it becomes something tangible, useful, and recyclable. It is interesting to note that concerns over plastics are not by any means new or unique to the current age. Previous generations saw that limits were needed on environmental grounds. A textbook written by the highly respected academic and plastics expert Dr. John Bryson throws an interesting light on early concerns. The following excerpt, taken from a passage in its introduction, comes from a revised 1977 edition. Another problem confronting the plastics industry, and in fact civilization as a whole, which came to the foreground in the 1970s, was the concern for the environment. There has been increasing awareness of the need for conservation of resources and of the evils of pollution and of the fact that it is the quality of life rather than material possessions which is the criterion by which civilization should be judged. It is interesting to note that these concerns have been around for nearly 50 years and continue to be expressed. Might it be that our desire for material possessions hinders our actions when it comes to rectifying harm done to the environment? We do, however, need to acknowledge the benefits of plastics to our quality of life. Somewhere, a balance needs to be made. Plastics have been instrumental in giving us healthy, fuller, and more socially inclusive lives. We can do things we never would have imagined just a couple of generations ago. Our lives have improved in so many ways. We have choices in how we live, what we wear, what we eat, and even what leisure activities are open to us. Now to ask the important question: how much of this do we want to give up? How much should we give up? And what would be the consequences to the planet if all plastics were banished? And come to that, why do we have such strong opinions about plastics in the first place? I will try to address these issues and others in the audio that follows. Let's start with the question why we have formed such strong opinions about plastics. 1. Why are we so set against plastic? The influence of the media. There have been some fantastic programs on the television these last few years. We have been entertained and enlightened on a terrific range of subjects. Some of them have become seminal and have impacted society in ways not imagined. One such was the excellent BBC offering, The Blue Planet. It became a global sensation, and the episode in its second season focusing on plastics spawned international debate, kick-starting a multitude of campaign groups, calls for action, and even influenced governmental policy. It has helped shape the thinking of a whole generation. The phenomenal success of this program led to a plethora of others, all determined to pick up the environmental mantle, and in doing so, increasingly demonize plastics. After all, this is what the public wanted to hear. Plastics are the root of all evil. They are clogging the sewers and abound in the oceans, congregating in sprawling islands of waste. The media, in its bid for ever more sensationalist headlines, ramp up their efforts to further